Hey everyone, happy Friday. It's Jo of SportsGrid and it's time for Puck It with Jo. We only have 3 games on the slate and we had some incredible games last night. Hats off to my Calgary Flames for being able to get the win over the Boston Bruins. The Bruins will play the Vancouver Canucks tomorrow. So they were in a little bit of a look ahead situation. As we know, Calgary is truly in a rebuild mode, but trying to cling on to a wild card spot. But 3 games tonight, the Edmonton Oilers are on deck and they will play the Calgary Flames tomorrow. So this is a scary situation for Edmonton. With Calgary tomorrow, that Battle of Alberta is so real. So we're going to be breaking down all 3 games on today's slate. Tomorrow, make sure you come back and join me for a Cup at Puck of Joe for those earlier games, and then we will do the live show. I've already got it set up. Can't remember what time that is Eastern, but I will post those times out there shortly. And before I forget, Game Time Decisions, I will be on over on SportsGrid. If you don't know where to watch it, go to www.sportsgrid.com/watch. You can find all the places over there. I'm on at 6:12 Eastern with Kevin Walsh. So right after this show finishes up. But you guys, big shout out to each and every one of you. Happy Friday, Matt and David. Let's make some money. Yeah, crazy games last night. And happy Saturday down under. So I hope you're having a beautiful start to your Saturday down there. Or is it Friday night? Add 4 hours, switch AM, PM. You're already in Saturday. So let's talk about these games here. The Buffalo Sabres are taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, odds are all provided on this show via FanDuel. So we have the Buffalo Sabres here at -156, plus 130 for the Columbus Blue Jackets, total of 6.5. Now, you're going to lay juice to the over at -128. It is plus 104 to the under. I couldn't take this game under between these two teams, and I would lean to that over, but I do think we have a barking home dog in the Columbus Blue Jackets, and I know this is going to be unpopular. This team really hasn't been playing at home. And looking at their schedule, they're home off a road trip, but I still think they have every ability to get the win. We know all of these trade rumors around Von Jenner. He's been playing absolutely lights out since this has been happening for the Columbus Blue Jackets. You look at him the last 5 games, he has 5 goals and 8 points, just playing fantastic out there. I think you can look at him for the anytime goal here back at home. This team has hardly played any games at home since December. So I do think this is a nice spot for them as a home dog. I also don't trust the Sabres as a favorite. I don't want to lay juice on the Sabres. And now they have been solid. They've won their last 4 road games and they're 6-1 in their past 7 overall. So this is a team that is rolling with momentum. This is the second game of the Dad's trip. Now, we did back them versus Montreal in that first game. They were able to pull it off. You know, they were rolling in as a slight dog in that situation, I do believe, and Montreal was able to lose in that. So we were able to get the win with the Sabres. I know the dads are still on the trip, and that's something we do weigh into account, the dads and mentors there. So it's dads, grandfathers, ex-coaches, whoever's like a father-like figure to these players has come on this trip. But this team can be inconsistent as well. And looking at the juice that we have to lay with the Sabres, I can't get behind -156. So for myself, it's the Columbus Blue Jackets at plus 130. I think there is value there. I lean to this one going over 4-3 style game. One thing to note on the Columbus Blue Jackets that is pretty scary. So they're sitting 8th in the Metro. They won that last game versus the Anaheim Ducks. They haven't won 2 games in a row since back in November. So they're win one, lose one kind of team, or win one, lose 3 kind of team. They're not a win one, lose one, win one kind of team. So, or win-win. So the last time they won 2 in a row, November 22nd and November 24th, when they got the wins over the Chicago Blackhawks and the New Jersey Devils, 2 games in a row. So let's see what they have here tonight. I don't think either of these teams is a team that you can really rely on a lot, but I do like what we've seen out of Von Jenner. I like him for that anytime goal, and I do like Columbus here, value with them as a home dog. We did. We made some money last night. That is for sure. I'm doing great. Thank you so much for being here. Good evening to you as well. Under is going to be surprised. Yeah, there could be a lot of unders on deck today. I think some of these games start off fast. So I would look before I looked at the over 6.5 in this one and the Edmonton and Wild game that we're going to talk about later. You look at that first period because I think the goals come quick and fast between teams. And then I think we do see games going over. It's the last night of the dad's trip. Yeah, it is the last night. So it was only a two game road trip here. I would love to know what happened in Montreal on this road trip. We know Montreal's a party town, and talking to some ex-baseball players that used to play back in the day when Montreal had a team, and the parties that used to go on in Montreal, and talking to ex-hockey players, the parties that used to go on in Montreal after these games, I wouldn't be surprised if the dads and the sons had quite a bit of fun in Montreal before heading out to this game. And while I do think they can come to impress their dads, I just think Columbus, home ice, I love the value. Goudreau, yeah, I would look at Johnny Hockey there definitely for the points today. I think he can show up. And yes, the dads are still there. So you're going to roll with the Columbus Blue Jackets. 4 games in 6 nights. Yeah, it has been. It has been a lot of games for them there. And I think they're probably tired on this trip out with their dads. So I like the money on the Columbus Blue Jackets over Buffalo. Let's look at the next game here, you guys, with the Winnipeg Jets taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. Now we know the struggles out of the Blackhawks this season. They're coming in at plus 225. We have the Winnipeg Jets at minus 280, total of 5.5, minus 122 to the over. This is plus 100 to plus 100 to the over, minus 122 to the under. If you're looking at a puck line, plus 1.5 for the Chicago Blackhawks is minus 111, and minus 1.5 for the Winnipeg Jets is minus 108. I lean in this one for this one actually to go over that total. Connor Bedard has been solid for the Chicago Blackhawks, and while this team is struggling to put those goals up on the board on home ice here, I expect them to open up. If they open up and Connor Bedard gets a fast goal on Connor Hellebuck, I do expect this game to be one where we're seeing the Jets get those goals on the board. So I think they could open up. We need 2 goals though out of the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, I was flirting with taking the Chicago Blackhawks team total under 1.5, but I just couldn't get there because I do think they probably get 2 in this one if it plays out the way I was thinking. But there is a good reason to take the under 1.5. That's coming in, it's coming in at plus 146. In the last 5 meetings with the Chicago Blackhawks against the Winnipeg Jets, they've only gone over in one of those games, over that 1.5 when they scored 2 goals and got the win 2-1. But I do think this is a game where we see them score a couple here. Connor Bedard has just been so solid after coming back from injury. And looking at the Winnipeg Jets, like I said, this team has been putting the puck in the back of the net. Connor Hellebuck hasn't been 100% as of late as well. Now, Peter Mrazek here, we need him to not have a great game because the last game versus the Winnipeg Jets that he played, he was phenomenal. He actually stopped 36 of 37 shots on net. So he needs to be a little off in this one because if he is absolutely hot, this game is definitely staying under that total. I'm going to take it to the over 5.5. It's not like there's a look ahead, and I was really hoping there was a look ahead situation here for the Winnipeg Jets, but they have the Coyotes on deck on Sunday, so no look ahead. It is a battle of the Central. So in divisional battles here, I look for that home underdog to really get up for these games. I do expect Connor Bedard and company to find the back of Connor Hellebuck's goal a couple of times. Otherwise, it should be an easy win for the Winnipeg Jets. Like this should be a 2-goal win here for the Winnipeg Jets. I just don't know how much I trust it. And I don't like that puck line. We're not getting enough value in my opinion. But I am going to look at a player prop here. So give me the over 5.5, and I'm going to look at Monahan here for the Winnipeg Jets. Now, he has been on fire as of late for the anytime goalies, coming in at plus 250, which I can't believe they're giving us this much value. His last 4 games, he's got 5 goals and 9 shots on goal. So he's been complete fire. He hasn't been getting those assists. So look at that anytime goal at plus 250. Kyle Connor, is always one that we can turn to as well to find the back of the net. And I do think he comes out nice and strong. Now, quickly back to Monahan. When Monahan was with Montreal and he faced the Chicago Blackhawks earlier in the season, he did have a goal and an assist in that game as well. So I expect a lot out of Monahan tonight. Again, like I said, that anytime goal at plus 250. If you want kind of like Kyle Connor's a safer bet, it's coming in at plus 140. He should be able to get a goal, but I like the value on Monahan. Okay. Let's look at the next game on a deck here. We have the Minnesota Wild. Now they are taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Now first this line. I can't trust this line. We have minus 184 here for the Edmonton Oilers and plus 152 for the Minnesota Wild. Total of 6.5, minus 132 to the over, and it's plus 108 to the under. Gustafson versus Pickard here in goal for the Edmonton Oilers. Both of these goaltenders have decent numbers. Here you look at Gustafson, it's a 3.27 goals against average and an 8.9 for save percentage. And Pickard coming out here with a 2.48 goals against average and a 9.10 save percentage. Edmonton's off that super physical game versus the Boston Bruins in OT. The problem with Edmonton is they're starting off these games slow and they're fighting their way back. You even look at the last game versus, well, not the Boston Bruins, the last game before that versus the Arizona Coyotes. They had to fight their way back to win this one. So if this is a game where you see the Minnesota Wild go up by 2-3 goals, come back on Edmonton, plus whatever that is on the puck line. I don't see this being a blowout win if it's the Minnesota Wild who is able to get the win. Now, I do think Edmonton has a chance of coming back and getting the win, but Calgary is on deck tomorrow. Couple things I'm going to do with this game. I'm going to look at this game as in the fact, well, Edmonton's won the last 2 meetings, but 8 of the last 10 have been won by the Minnesota Wild, so they know how to beat Edmonton. I'm going to look at a quick goal in this game. I look at the frustration out of both of these teams, how they've come out of this or how they've come out of their last games into this. So Edmonton was steamrolled by the Boston Bruins, losing in overtime. And you look at the Minnesota Wild, they're off that 6-3 loss to the Winnipeg Jets. I believe they were the favorite in that one or close to. It was kind of a pick 'em, I believe, in that one. But I think the Wild are a better team than they showed in that game. They know how to beat Edmonton. I think both of these teams come out hard and fast. Now, I do think all the values on the Minnesota Wild to pull off that upset win, especially with the Battle of Alberta on deck. Edmonton has to travel down to Calgary. I tell you, living in Calgary and being at games in Edmonton or Calgary, these teams play hard physical games versus each other. It is already in Edmonton's mind that they have to travel to Calgary to play that game. So value on the Wild, I'm going to put a little sprinkle on them at plus 152. I can't say no. But I'm going to look at that goal in the first 5 minutes, and that's my best bet of this game. I think we get a hard, fast goal out of one of these teams, and then I really don't care which team it is that scores first. That's coming in, the goal in the first 5 minutes at plus 154. I also look for that first period to go over 1.5, but the books do too. You're going to have to lay the juice at minus 144. I could see a way where this one stayed under that total if the defenses start playing like they have to. I'm really disappointed with what we've seen out of Edmonton in these losses. Their defense hasn't been locking down. They've been allowing their opponents to get up, so they haven't been playing really strong offensively out of the gate. They've been still getting the shots, but they haven't been getting these high danger shots. And then what's happened is they've had to play catch up. And in that third period, it's been a frantic comeback to be able to get these wins, and it just didn't work versus Boston. They were forced to go to OT there. So I do think looking at Edmonton when they go down in that first period, if they do in this one, perfect live betting situation. But I expect a hard, fast, quick goal, and I would expect it out of Edmonton and Connor McDavid. We know Connor McDavid keeps getting held off the scoreboard. Like, how many games is it now without him registering a goal? He's still been getting those assists, but Connor McDavid needs that goal. It will probably come tomorrow in the Battle of Alberta. I tell you guys, Edmonton is going to be so ready for that battle in Calgary. Standing there waiting for them to come in, it's going to be a hard one. We look at the Wild, they have the Kraken on deck tomorrow. So that is their look ahead situation, but this is the game that means more. And Edmonton playing Calgary tomorrow means more than the Wild playing the Kraken because it's not a divisional matchup. So that's where I'm going. Let me know what else you are liking. We also have to look at the fact that Jacob Markstrom, for the Calgary Flames, something to put in your mind. There's so many talks about him being traded today. Talks are that he's going to end up with the New Jersey Devils. That would be the perfect place for him. I hope Calgary doesn't let him go, but we do have Dan Vladar and we have Dustin Wolf, the young guy from the AHL that keeps being brought up. So we'll see what Calgary does. We know they're in a real rebuild mode, but things are going crazy. We've got a loaded slate tomorrow, you guys, and that will kick off with the St. Louis Blues and the Detroit Red Wings. That is at 12 noon Eastern. I will have a cup at puck of Joe in that one, but right now, before these lines move, I just wanted to let you know, looking at that over 6.5, If you're looking at the total at minus 112 to the over, I think is a really solid way to go. But first, I would look at the Detroit Red Wings team total to that over. Now, it is Binghamton expected in net and Alex Leon in this matchup tomorrow. I trust the Detroit Red Wings to go over their team total. There's just no odds yet on FanDuel. I'd take it over the 3.5 up to minus 120, 122. If you're laying more than that, I would stay off it and I'd just take that full game over 6.5. We know the St. Louis Blues, while they are strong defensively, have been able to lock down. My official bets will be out tomorrow, so make sure you stay tuned for that. We also have the Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the New York Islanders. We know the Lightning have been having their struggles and they struggle defensively on the road as well, but the New York Islanders, Sorokin will be in net. They allow their goaltending to be peppered. And while Patrick Waugh is trying to lock this team down on the defensive side, they are still showing their struggles. So 6.5 in that game as well. Wouldn't be surprised if we see the juice tick up, that line tick up on that over. It's minus 114 to the over right now. I would trust in Tampa in that first period. We know the New York Islanders have been one of those teams that will keep fighting in these games, but have been allowing these goals. And Tampa, we know, comes out really hard in that first period. So that's what I'm looking at for those early games. There's a whole slew that we will talk about. We'll have a pocket cup of Joe tomorrow. But you guys come over, join me on Game Time Decisions. That's kicking off right at, 6:12. I have to convert it to Eastern. 6:12 Eastern. So make sure you come over and join me. Yeah, they're thinking Jacob Markstrom will go to the New Jersey Devils. That's where he'd be in the market. So we will see. Go Blues. Something like that's going to happen. Red Wings money line. You know what? The Red Wings are a pretty solid look on the money line, minus 140 right now. I don't think you're going to get better value for them tomorrow. I think if anything, this line will move up. So I do like the Red Wings at minus 140. The New Jersey Devils, Rangers for 10 in a row. The Rangers tomorrow are facing the Philadelphia Flyers. Now, the Rangers are only minus 137 at the moment, and the Flyers coming in at plus 114. When we look at these two teams, I do think the Rangers are the better team. And I just quickly want to check how they've done in past performances versus each other, because off the top of my head, I don't have that. So we look at the New York Rangers. They've won 8 of the last 10, including that win back in November. They won that one 3-1. The 4 games prior, they were able to get the wins as well. But when we look at probably the last 6 games, we've seen 3 of those go to OT. So the Philadelphia Flyers do play them tight. I could see it being a low-scoring, tight battle out there. The New York Rangers minus 137, and that total, of course, the books are juicing us to that under 6.5 at minus 134. The Rangers and the Flyers kick off at 3 o'clock Eastern. So I will have official picks out in that. Panarin, I do think, will be a difference maker. It should be urgent in goal. We'll see who comes out for the Rangers. But yeah, I think the Rangers have that. Minus 1.5 on that puck line for the New York Rangers is coming in at plus 172. Already, I'm tempted to take that, even though we've seen these two teams play really tight battles. Matt with the Flyers. You guys are so very welcome. Have a fantastic night, everyone. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. David, it's so appreciated that you guys joined me. If it wasn't for you guys, this show wouldn't be possible. Thank you. It is a red day. Feeling it today. So let's make some freaking money out there on the ice, you guys. I will be back tomorrow. Stay tuned for what time we'll kick off the show, but we'll have a pocket cup of Joe before anything else kicks off. You have a wonderful night. Happy Saturday down under. Enjoy that sunshine. I heard it's not the nicest weather. Well, my brother's in Melbourne, so he said it wasn't the nicest weather this weekend, but get out to the beach anyway. You guys enjoy wherever you're at. I hope you make some money this weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow or in the next 20 minutes on Game Time Decisions. Bye, guys.